You are never more helpless than when you're asleep. No awareness, no defense. You can't run, you can't fight, you can barely register that anything is happening until it's already happening. You are, in that moment, just meat. Slow, quiet meat that can't fight back. Now, take yourself out of your bedroom. Put yourself on the ground, in the open, under the stars. For 300,000 years, that is exactly where your ancestors slept, surrounded by lions, wolves, leopards, animals that can hear a heartbeat across a clearing, smell you from a mile away, and see perfectly in a darkness where you're completely blind. Every night, our species laid down the easiest meal on Earth, and almost every morning, we woke up. So why did the predators walk past? The answer isn't luck, and it isn't just fire. It's a strange, invisible truce, and it is still protecting you tonight. Let's start with the part that sounds like an ego trip, but is just biology. To a predator, you are terrifying. Not you specifically. You're probably lovely, but humans as a species are one of the most frightening things in the natural world. And it's not obvious from looking at us. We have no claws. We're slow. We're weak for our size. We can't see in the dark. On paper, we're a disaster of an animal. And yet, in 2017, researchers led by Justine Smith at UC Santa Cruz did something simple and revealing. They hid speakers in the Santa Cruz Mountains and played recordings of human voices near wild pumas. Just people, calmly talking. The pumas fled. These are animals that kill full-grown deer for a living. They heard a podcast and they ran. And here's the part that should stop you. The same study found that pumas abandoned their own kills, food they had already caught, already started eating, the moment they heard a human voice. They walked away from a free meal. For a predator, that is an enormous cost. Every kill burns calories that a lost meal never pays back. And they did it anyway, because being near us frightened them more than going hungry. That's not a one-off. Lions and cougar move less where humans are active. Tigers give wide berth to villages sitting in perfect habitat. These aren't animals that can't attack us. They're animals that have decided, at the level of the entire species, that we are not worth it. And the reason why is one of the darkest facts in natural history. We didn't earn that fear by being gentle. We earned it by being the most effective killer this planet has ever produced. In 2015, a study in the journal Science measured it directly and gave us a name: the human super predator. We kill adult prey and rival predators at rates far beyond what any lion or wolf could sustain. We've been apex hunters for around 2 million years. We drove mammoths to extinction. We wiped saber-toothed cats, cave bears, and giant sloths off entire continents. We hunted wolves and mountain lions to the edge of oblivion across whole land masses. And here's the twist. In doing that, we didn't just kill predators. We shaped them. Because think about what that pressure does over time. The lions that approached human camps too boldly got killed. The wolves that hunted our settlements got hunted down. The predators that survived, generation after generation, were the cautious ones. The ones that treated humans as a thing to avoid rather than a thing to eat. They lived. They bred. They passed that caution to their cubs. Over thousands of generations, being afraid of us stopped being a choice and became instinct. It became genetic. So when a leopard catches your scent in the dark tonight, an old alarm goes off somewhere in its nervous system. Not a thought, but an inherited signal, wired in by every one of its ancestors that survived meeting us. It says, be careful, don't engage, move on. That fear is a memory written in DNA, and it runs 2 million years deep. Now, let's talk about how you smell, because this is where it gets stranger than you'd expect. You've never really noticed your own smell because you're surrounded by humans and you've normalized all of it. But to a predator with a nose anywhere from 10 to 100,000 times sharper than yours, you are broadcasting an overwhelming, detailed, and deeply weird chemical signal. Bears smell several times better than a bloodhound. Wolves can pick up a scent from nearly 2 miles away. Big cats have a second smelling organ in the roof of the mouth that lets them practically taste the air. And when one of them approaches a sleeping human, it gets a flood of information, and almost none of it says food, because you smell wrong. You smell like nylon and polyester and the factory chemicals in your gear. You smell like the meal you ate hours ago, the snacks in your bag, soap, sunscreen, bug spray, a cocktail of artificial compounds that exists nowhere in nature. And underneath all of it, you smell faintly like a primate, which is something, but it is not the thing. Not a deer, not a wildebeest, not any of the prey a predator has hunted 1,000 times. Because a hunting instinct isn't a vague urge to kill things that move, it's a precise system, tuned over millions of years to specific prey, specific shapes, specific movements, specific smells. You don't match the pattern. You're not in the system. You're an anomaly. And to most predators, an anomaly triggers caution, not appetite. Then there's fire, one of the most underrated things our species ever figured out. Fire is one of the only things on Earth that nearly every land animal fears without ever being taught. It's not learned, it's innate. The animals that ran from wildfires survived to have offspring. The ones that didn't. The fear is so deep that lab-raised animals who have never seen a flame will flinch at the smell of smoke. We tamed fire somewhere between 1 and 2 million years ago, and for almost all of that time, sleeping beside it has been standard. We told ourselves it was for warmth, for cooking. But a campfire does something else. It broadcasts a signal into the dark. Something dangerous is here. Something that controls fire. Stay away. And the predators have been receiving that message for so long, they don't even decode it anymore. It just triggers avoidance automatically. We figured that out before farming, before writing, before the wheel. Fire first. Honestly, smart move. And now, the biggest myth of all, the one the movies have been selling you your whole life. Predators are not reckless. That image of the fearless killing machine that attacks anything in range? Fiction. In reality, large predators are obsessively careful because they have to be. A lion has no hospital. A wolf has no sick days. One serious injury, a cracked leg, a deep bite, a damaged eye, is a slow death sentence. Because a predator that can't hunt starves. So every single time a predator decides whether to attack something, it runs a brutal calculation. Is this meal worth the risk of getting hurt? A sleeping human fails that calculation in almost every way. First, you're unfamiliar. A predator is confident hunting prey it has watched hundreds of times. It knows how a zebra bolts, how it kicks, where it panics. It has no idea what you'll do. You might wake up screaming. You might have tools. You might have other humans right beside you. That uncertainty is a giant red flag. Second, your shape is wrong. Standing upright is a threat display in the animal world. It's what bears and gorillas do when they want to look dangerous. A creature that walks on 2 legs by default reads as assertive, even lying down. And third, the simplest reason of all, why bother? There's almost always an easier meal nearby. A familiar animal that fits the template that won't fight back in strange ways. The risk-reward math on a human just doesn't add up. Here's something else almost nobody tells you. Your sleep is not as deep as you think. Your brain moves through cycles all night, and in the lighter stages, it stays surprisingly alert to the world around you. Unfamiliar sounds break through more easily than familiar ones. Scientists call it the sentinel function of sleep, the idea that even while resting, part of your mind keeps watch. In 2017, a study of Hadza hunter-gatherers found that in a group, someone is almost always lightly awake through the night, a natural, rotating watch with no one assigned to it. The humans in our past who slept too deeply to notice a threat were more likely to never wake up at all. The lighter sleepers survived. So you sleep lighter and in shorter cycles than most large mammals because your ancestors always assumed there'd be something in the dark worth waking up for. You feel helpless when you're unconscious. You're actually running a quiet early warning system. And you're almost never alone. Humans travel in groups, sleep in groups, and wake each other. Predators understand groups intimately because their prey forms groups too. And what a predator hunts for isn't the herd. It's the straggler, the isolated one, the individual cut off from the rest. A camp of sleeping humans is the opposite of that. Wake one and the others wake too. The risk of a clean kill turning into a chaotic group defense is exactly the kind of thing a careful predator is built to avoid. So, layer it all together. You're evolutionarily terrifying. You smell like an anomaly. You sleep beside fire. You're an unpredictable, upright, unfamiliar shape. You wake at the snap of a twig, and you're surrounded by others who wake with you. To a predator running its survival math in the dark, you are simply not worth it. That's the truce. Nobody signed it, nobody remembers agreeing to it, but it holds. Almost every night, almost everywhere. Almost. Because I'd be lying to you if I said the rule never breaks. And when it breaks, it is terrifying. But it breaks in a pattern. Look at the famous cases. In 1898, 2 lions in Tsavo, Kenya, killed railway workers over about 9 months. The legend says 135 victims. A later chemical analysis of the lion's own remains put the real number closer to 35. And here's what the legend leaves out. These weren't normal lions. Both were maneless. One had severe dental disease that would have made hunting its natural prey painful and difficult. Then there's the Champawat tiger, blamed for over 400 deaths in India and Nepal in the early 1900s. When the hunter Jim Corbett finally examined it, he found that at some point it had been shot in the mouth, 2 of its canine teeth shattered. It physically could not hunt the prey it was built for. That's the pattern. In nearly every case of a predator hunting humans, something had broken first. The animal was injured or starving because we destroyed its habitat, or old and past its prime, or it had lost its inherited fear because tourists had fed it and taught it that people mean food instead of danger. The truce doesn't hold because predators are kind. It holds because, for a healthy animal in an intact world, we are the worst possible bet. It only breaks when desperation overrides 2 million years of caution. Which means the truce isn't really unconditional. It's a deal with terms. And almost every time a human gets hurt, it's because a human broke one of them. So it's worth knowing what they are, because these are the same rules that kept your ancestors alive. The first term is the campfire. For 1,000,000 years, sleeping beside flame was not optional. It was the whole strategy, the signal that broadcasts something dangerous is here into the dark. The moment you decide the fire is unnecessary and let it die, you switch off the oldest repellent our species ever built. The second term is food. The truce depends on you smelling like an anomaly, not a meal. Leave food out, cook where you sleep, let scent soak into your camp, and you start rewriting the signal. You begin to smell like something worth investigating. Bears don't come for people, they come for coolers, and people happen to be nearby. The third term, and the one people break most, is the fear itself. Every time an animal is fed by a tourist, photographed at arm's length, treated like it's tame, a little of that 2 million-year caution gets sanded away. A predator that learns humans mean an easy snack instead of danger is a predator that has forgotten the one thing keeping it alive, and the one thing keeping you alive, too. And there's the piece almost no one wants to hear. The single deadliest large animal to humans isn't the lion or the wolf or the leopard that's terrified of you. Depending on the region, it's the hippo, the elephant, the buffalo, animals that aren't hunting you at all. They don't want to eat you. They just want you gone, and they are large enough to make that happen. The predators, the ones with the teeth and the claws and the reputation, are the ones running from your voice. The truce holds best exactly where the fear is sharpest. It's the animals that don't fear you that you have to watch. And there is one final layer to this, and it is the strangest of all. We have made the natural world so afraid of us that our fear now reshapes ecosystems we never even touch. That 2019 research from Santa Cruz found that when pumas avoid the places humans use, the deer there relax and multiply and overgraze the plants. The smaller predators pull back too, so the rodents they normally control start to boom. The whole web shifts, not because of anything we do, but simply because of what we are. Our fear radiates outward through the living world like a signal from a single species, rewriting the behavior of animals we'll never meet. So think about what that makes you. The most dangerous animal on the planet is the one that learned to control fire before it learned almost anything else. The one that shaped the genes of its own predators. The one that sleeps light, moves in groups, and carries 10,000 generations of survival wired into its body. That's you. That's what you are, lying there in the dark, feeling small. So the next time you're somewhere wild at night and you feel that little pulse of ancient fear in your chest, let it come. That feeling kept your ancestors alive for 2 million years. But the thing out there in the dark isn't coming for you. It picked up your scent a long time ago, and it already made its decision. It knows better. Nothing is as ordinary as it looks.